Parler is a microblogging platform, but really, I think more than anything else, it's a monument to what shouldn't happen on any side of the political spectrum, which is to crush dissenting voices with their own money. The entire mesh up of that message in 21 was just an excuse to get it offline.
Yeah, because when in 2020 you had Parler, the fastest growing social media app in the world.
I think we'll be the only social network in the world besides Facebook that owns its own server infrastructure.
Without users, Facebook doesn't exist. But the user's not paid anything to post there.
Delivering value back to people on the one thing they've been giving away for free since the advent of social media, and that's their data.
We're going to take a slice of the pie and pay you because you are the one creating the opportunity for money to be had, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What I want to do, I want to talk about Pulse today. Okay. A lot of people are excited about the Parler stuff. And obviously on my other show, I've talked a lot about my partnership with Parler and that kind of stuff. But before we do that, man, I don't know much about you. So this is going to be really cool. I'm going to be learning live, like my listeners will be, about your story a little bit. Great. And then we're going to be able to jump into Pulse and some cool things that you guys are doing. So if you wouldn't mind, before we start, give me a 2,000 foot overview of kind of how you landed here with Pulse. Just a couple, how do we get here?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Iowa, worked in the Bush administration till 2008, started a couple companies in Minnesota, a close friend, worked a lot in the sports and entertainment space for about 14 years. In 2020, I kind of came back in as a political consultant, produced a lot of ads that people might have seen and stuff like that. And worked on elections through 2022 into 2024. And after the kind of animating force of that was to see Donald Trump reelected for me personally. So after that happened, it was, what do you want to do next? And for me, getting back into tech made a lot of sense. And the Pulse company is so much more than just Parler.
Right.
It's a piece of it. And it was really attractive proposition to come here and help blend that together.
Do you have a favorite? You said you started multiple companies. Do you have a favorite company you started or a favorite project that you worked on? It was kind of your baby and you just loved that whole experience?
Yeah. One of my good friends from growing up is the CEO of it and has been since 20 right now. FanMaker is awesome. It is a loyalty platform, SDK that's out there for hundreds of sports teams.
Could you dumb that down for me? Because I don't know what that means, or my listeners what
if you were a season ticket holder at a stadium and you scan your season ticket app to pay for a hot dog, our software is underpinning it.
Got it. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're still, did you come up with that idea or how'd that idea, it
evolved over about 16 years of running the company.
That's awesome, man.
I think the first iteration of that software was 2013.
Wow. Yeah, that's always interesting with entrepreneurs because most entrepreneurs see some sort of problem and they try to kind of create a product to fix it. Is that kind of in this situation what happened with you guys there at FanMaker? You saw we could do this better or we can make this cleaner, and you just I guess how do you even get in that tech space? If someone you created an app, how does that all work? Because a lot of our listeners, this is the reason I asked that question. I have a very wide demographic of people.
Create the wrap by writing the code.
Yeah. And they just do it.
It works, but I don't know. I've always been somewhat entrepreneurial. Want to know how something works, why it works, how it could be better.
And you said you worked a little bit with the Bush administration, some stuff in politics. Do you have a favorite role or thing that you did within your political consulting or I
don't know about favorite. I would say the most life trajectory changing thing was internship at 21. So I stayed on for 7 to 9 months, I forget exactly, in White House political.
Okay.
And that was really impactful. I met a lot of really cool people, had some great mentorship. I'd say the biggest thing was my writing improved. I'll never forget. I was drafting a political briefing and turned it into my boss at that point in time. And it came back and it was 15 pages, right? Because it's going to go to the president, going in on an event, political background. And it came back and it was edited to 6.
Wow.
And the lesson there was don't write something that is a possibility. Be direct, be concise, communicate clearly. And that's stuff I really internalized for the rest of my life. And yeah, I'll never forget that. It was mortifying at that point in time.
Would you say that writing skill could be entrepreneurs listening to this too? Like what you just said was interesting. You said when you write something, you said be direct. Say that one more time. You said something very interesting.
Be direct, be concise, be factual.
Yeah. Do you feel how do you think like young entrepreneurs could apply that to their business, their life, like their emails? Like, is this something that like writing as a whole?
I think in entrepreneurship, like you're presenting a solution to a problem, like universally, right?
Right.
So you should be able to clearly identify what problem you're solving and what the answer is.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big problem for dreamers, right? Like I'm a dreamer. I know when we were talking, I sent like a massive proposal with all these thoughts. And like it was like 6 pages. I'm like, we could do this or we could do this. And narrowing that down to a concise, like, this is it. I feel like it's really hard for people like me. Like that's a skill. Like that's something that's not easy to do.
Yeah. I mean, if you're aiming at the right target and you've identified it, like you're going to make a lot more headway quickly than if you're trying to do dozens of different things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good lesson for entrepreneurship too, or just anything. I mean, and a lot of times you can work backwards too, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's a good way to do it. The other thing I wanted to ask is, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm huge believer in that. Like what's in state, what are the steps to get to in state? How do you break it up into small chunks, like hours per day, et cetera? You know, funny thing, like, I picked up like ultra marathons and whatnot, like a few years ago. And, like on that to figure out like how I can get a specific pace. It's like, here's what my VO2 max needs to be. This is how long my stride needs to be.
What's a VO2 max?
It's a measure of aerobic capacity. And like, this is what the lactate.
Oh, so you're in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I broke down like what my metrics would be to get the marathon time I want to get, which I want to get 2:55. And not there yet. Have work to do this year, but just broke it down into an algebra equation.
So what's your average mile time right now?
Like my fastest?
Yeah.
Last 3 years, I think the fastest mile I put down was 5:02.
If I don't mind, how old are you right now, Jason?
44.
Holy mother. That's insane. So wait. So have you always been into running, or is this like a newfound passion?
No. I mean, running was a necessity growing up because I wrestled. So it was like
just stay in shape.
Yeah. It was cut weight.
I run to the fridge a lot. Like that's what I do. I run back to the office. Get a lot of cardio there. My wife's Italian. Here's the deal, Jason. My wife's Italian.
Oh.
And so I was skinny.
It's constantly good food.
I graduated high school at 163.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was half myself.
Yeah.
I literally, yeah. And then I went to college, and then I stayed in shape, and then I met her, and she's like baking croissants and like making homemade pasta. It's like, what do you want me to do, man? Like, I'm just like, so I'm trying to lose it. But you picked up running as a hobby later.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's like for people like me, I enjoy running, but like I don't love it. Like,
well, I never didn't do it. I would say, like, you know, I did in my 30s, I did triathlons for a while, and I would like go do it. Sick. But like picking it like as a goal and like a daily mental break was just a way to handle stress more than anything else. And that's been really nice for that. Yeah. You
texted me yesterday and you were like, sorry, dude, got lost on my run.
I did.
And I was like, how far is this guy running?
Yesterday, I was a little under 7. It wasn't like just short run before the office, but like
wimpy 7 miles.
No, I went out to a bike trail, and then I ran past the road to get off and whatever. I mean, when you're in a different town, like it's not like you have
running
a map
more than a mile block.
Yeah, it's not like you have a map in front of you when you're out there. You're just trying to like.
When's your next race?
On May 10th.
Cool. How far?
Marathon, Minnesota. I'm going to shoot like 3:20, 3:22 time on that one.
What's do you know like what an average amateur 44-year-old time is?
I mean, I
feel like that's a great time.
Yeah, I'm trying not to like measure. There are always going to be people better than me, and but you don't want to focus on people behind you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not really worried about that. It really is like, can I get to where I want to go? And like, am I better today than I was yesterday? Yeah. And like focusing on that, I think is a much more healthy way to approach it. Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people, and I love what you said with the reason why you run. It's a good mental break. It's a good way to get out of stress. 100%. I think a lot of people, and I joke, I do work out, by the way, that was a joke. Like I do run more than the fridge. And I think a lot of people should find some sort of physical hobby at some capacity. Oh, 100%. And I think depression could
I think a lot of people like sit on the couch and scroll.
Oh yeah, I
media
mean, you want to talk
move.
about that? Like if you're feeling depressed, like go take some magnesium and like
and walk,
get some physical activity. Like you're gonna feel better pretty quick.
Yeah. I talked to Erica Donald's, Byron Donald's wife. So she came on the show. And this is going to rabbit trail and we'll come right back to it. And she came on the show and her son, so in Florida, her son, the school said that he needed ADHD medication. Mm-hmm. Not a doctor, the school. So it was really weird because she's like, she goes to do a teacher conference and like, your kid needs to be on drugs. And she's like, why? She's like, he's too high energy, can't focus. So they just kind of got him more physical activity. They're like, no, we're not doing this. They pulled him out of the school, never put him on any type of ADHD medication, just got him involved in a lot more like activities and things like that, and made it all the way through. Now he's in college, lawyer. And her point was, she was just saying, she's like, so many children are being put on like drugs and they're going home playing Fortnite for 8 hours. It's like, honestly, that kid probably just needs to play a sport and they'd be like in great shape. And that was kind of her point. That's what she does, a big school choice girl. But like, it's kind of what you were saying. Like a lot of people I feel like that are sad or depressed, just getting some sort of like physical activity in. And you found that with, because your job's kind of stressful, I feel like.
I don't know. I mean, can be. Yeah.
And so finding that running, I think a lot of people should find that thing. So, but let's talk about Pulse, man. So this is exciting. I am more on the Parler and PlayTV side.
Yep.
So I don't really know much about Pulse as an organization. No, Pulse is the parent company of Parler, correct?
Yeah.
What is Pulse? Give me an overview for the listeners and myself.
Yeah. So Pulse, I mean, Yasser, the CEO, is just brilliant, like on so many levels. So Pulse is Edgecast, which doesn't make, I don't think a lot of your listeners probably know.
I didn't know until I heard about it.
So Edgecast is a CDN and web security company that is just best in class. Like it takes like, in their new portal I was going through yesterday, it takes like 10 minutes to set up a CDN for like a major company, which is like absurd.
What's a CDN?
Content delivery network.
Okay.
So they have 28 data centers in 9 countries. And basically, if you want your website to load faster, you want video buffering, you want to stream the Super Bowl, which they were one of the tenants streaming the Super Bowl on Tubi this year. You need servers that are close to people. Like you can't be like running on a single droplet in DigitalOcean or Bucket.
Just due to latency?
Yeah.
Okay.
On latency. So you need to have your content distributed across multiple servers. So like you can distribute what that load looks like as you swell, so to speak. They're just a phenomenal team. So they've been around about 20 years, been owned by Yahoo, Verizon, and bounced around. And we were able to acquire them. I think the official close date was the Monday after the Super Bowl. So
recently,
it's about 120, 125 people.
Wow.
Huge server infrastructure, some just brilliant minds. And, I think it goes back, if you look at like 2 years ago or roughly, like 20% of the world's internet traffic like was going through like their server setup.
Wow. And now it's part of Pulse.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And then you have the Parler piece.
Then you have the Parler piece, which I mean, I really look at as it's a monument to free speech. So, I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. Parler got taken out by a Stanford Institute report that was a new internet safety thing that was set up by 3 Joe Biden staffers in 2021 that cited like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham as sources of misinformation being propagated by Parler, like mainstream conservative news personalities.
Right.
And it was funded by taxpayer dollars. So like that institute and that report were funded by the National Science Foundation, which I don't know what's scientific about taking out a political opponent. It seems kind of absurd.
Not very. I'll give you the answer.
Yeah. So, Parler is a microblogging platform, but really I think more than anything else, it's a monument to what shouldn't happen on any side of the political spectrum, which is to crush dissenting voices with their own money.
Yeah.
For your political gain.
Yeah, they fear what they can't control. I mean,
100%.
that's what you see in history, and that's what they did at Parler. And I the quick interjection there, and then we'll keep going. through what Pulse is, like I literally, because I know currently Parler has been a more conservative platform.
Yeah.
Like that's historically what it is. And I just put a post on Parler and I was like, hey guys, would you be free, like open to having people of left-wing ideologic on this platform? Because I believe if true free speech, you should have both sides represented. And literally everyone in the comments that are conservatives, like they're like, yeah, absolutely. Like we would love that. We would love at least some sort of like non-pure echo chamber at its capacity. And so that's the beautiful thing of what Parler can be. It can be that free speech ability to come here. We're not going to control what you say. Yep. We're not going to get, you know, Twitter files came out with Elon Musk and Biden administration was putting pressure on Twitter to boost certain posts, take down certain posts. Like that's just not going to happen on this app.
Yeah, I think if you look back at the last 5 years of CISA and government censorship and what happened, I think the most absurd thing that you can point to is to deperson the inventor of the mRNA vaccine and Dr. Malone, like the patent holder of the item, because he had concerns about it instead of having like an open dialogue. Like you deplatformed him from every single thing out there. And I think that's one of the reasons like Dr. Malone's written about Parler and how it was the only place it could go and whatnot for a while. But I mean, you just look at the amount of gaslighting that was done by official government sources since 2020 with COVID. And, you know, it's jarring.
So can you say, so I know a little bit about Dr. Malone. He actually just retweeted my video on Twitter, which was really cool. But like, so he's the patent holder of the mRNA vaccine. Is that what you just said? Yeah. Because I knew he was a biochemist and I knew he worked on vaccines.
Yeah. But he's the patent holder of that technology. Wow. So, you know, and I'm not, I'm not a medical professional here. So this is conversational, but, if you look at the mRNA vaccine technology, like there's a lot of immunotherapeutics that were worked on or that you can read about where it would be like taking that to genetically engineer it against a specific tumor site with really high efficacy. Okay. So you're talking about coming in and essentially making a vaccine that's unique to someone's genetic profile. And at no point in time was that technology ever designed to be mass distributed. Because you don't know every edge case that you're going to run into in billions of people that you're injecting with genetic material that becomes part of them. Right. So, I mean, that was what he was speaking out against. And you just saw like the only outlet left for him was Parler. Yeah. And the weird thing with that, like he's like, guys, we need to look at this. Right. It was even just like, this is not a good thing. And the moment you disagree with the mass, because you see that a lot of times in science. It wasn't even disagreeing with the mass. It was the moment that you were a voice that the mass might listen to. So it was much more the bureaucratic elite controlling what could be heard. Yeah. And that's a much more dangerous proposition than like standing against the mass or being a dissenting point of view. Yeah. I'd love to talk to him about, because and we'll get back to it, but I just had a doctor. He's studying to be a doctor. He was in my house. We were talking about this stuff. We actually talked about Dr. Malone a little bit. And it's this weird thing where like on one side, people like this guy, like he is going to school to help people. And I think a lot of doctors do help people. But then there's this also weird thing where like, if you disagree with the scientific community, there isn't an open dialogue. If it's something that they don't like, they will cancel you and they will rip your titles away. And it's this weird, like, it's a weird thing. I mean, science. I think they would want to have disagreeing opinions to learn from each other. That's like what you'd hope for in the medical and scientific community. But like, it's proof of Dr. Malone. And there's other people that if they say something maybe too extreme or what pharma doesn't like or what won't make them money, they're gone. And it's just a weird thing in the industry. I don't know. Yeah. The regardless of the topic, when people are like, there's scientific consensus, it's like the pursuit of science is like truth. It's definitely not consensus. Otherwise we'd still think the world was flat. And, you know, like, nothing would have advanced. Like challenging the status quo is like the purpose of science. Right. It's the purpose of scientific. And so it's weird when they're like, no, this is the truth. Yeah. It's just, it's a weird thing, but that's the whole point of Parler, right? It's like when you come out and say that as the subject matter expert empowered by the most powerful country on earth, like you should be right. You know, within a few years, you just were proven wrong. Like, look at Fauci. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about this.
Yeah,
like,
sorry, am I
that's
not allowed to say that? So we can cut that out.
no, yeah, like it's like the beatification of Saint Fauci by like half the population is one of the oddest things I'll ever live through.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
So like before 2020, and this is so I knew about Parler from college. I remember when the app came out, and I was like, okay, cool. But before 2020, I was one of those people that was like, most people in government are probably good, and they probably want what's best for us. And like, you know, you have some maybe conspiracy theorists that are weird, but like honestly, there's probably no elites. And like, I was just one of those, like, I was living on cloud nine. 2020 happened, and the weirdness
weird, right?
of all that, and I'm like, this isn't right. And then I remember being one of the first people in my circle groups being like, this is for sure a man-made disease. Like, it's too good to like be like, it's too good.
I mean,
and
what was it? The fact that the common cold was shutting down the world, or
right.
the spike
or
protein
the fact that you could have it. This was it. You could have the disease. I don't, you know, because, you know, YouTube will demonetize me if I say COVID too many times.
Yeah.
So like you could have it, but not know you had it and just be a carrier of it. That's what, like, that's insane. Yeah. So like when I heard that, I was like, okay, yeah, this is wild. The next thing you know, Wuhan, turns out it was true.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, if you wear a mask, you're safe. Oh, actually, masks don't do anything. Actually, you need, and I'm like, it was just that was the moment for me that I'm like, everything I thought to be.
I think my favorite moment in there was when you had like opinion pieces and papers, like truly arguing for internment camps of non-vaccinated people. And like that was an accepted level of discourse over the disease that you're referring to. I mean, it's just comical. It was like watching a Black Mirror.
Yeah.
It was like living through a Black Mirror episode.
And then like the next 3 years, we've had just like athletes just keel over on the, it's just like this weird, it's a weird thing. And we can go back to politics. This is how my show goes. We just talk about random stuff. Like, it's just weird, man. And so that's the beauty of and that's why Parler got kicked off, man. Like it's the same reason with Dr. Malone.
I mean,
it's like they couldn't be controlled. And so AWS said, okay, and took them off. Because they used J6 as an excuse, right? Like that was kind of their excuse.
It's like one of those things, like and I don't know how much I can really talk about it, but like you look at like them targeting like J6 was planned on Parler. I mean, that's just not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're not, you know, like we don't have DMs. Like anything that people post is public.
Yep.
Like you want to go see what people said. Like you don't need to subpoena us. Like you could have just like Google searched it.
And you know what's funny? I've talked to 3 different J6ers. Like none of them use part. Like they didn't even know it was a thing. And
so the entire like mesh up of like that message in 21 was just an excuse to get it offline.
Yeah, because when in 2020 you had Parler, the fastest growing social media app in the world, that's a free speech, uncontrolled platform.
Yeah,
like they don't like that. And now that's the cool thing about the blockchain side of all of this too. Like. I feel like that's the perfect time where Brian should just walk around the corner and be like, he's here. Yeah, like
be in here
that's the cool part about what you guys are doing on the blockchain side. And I don't know if you can, I mean, we'll talk more, Brian, about that, but that's a unique thing too.
Let's circle back up on the Pulse side. So Parler is one of them, PlayTV. You know, I would caution it as like a early version streaming platform, or not streaming platform, but video platform. Really, out there, moving over to the Edgecast server ecosystem. I think will be the only social network in the world besides Facebook that owns its own server infrastructure, which really does make it uncancelable at that point in time. But that's a component. And we're working on what will be the primary home, which will be the community app that has a ton of fun features in it that'll be coming at the start of Q3. And that'll be called Pulse. So that ecosystem's I'm really excited about how it's all going to come together with the amount of engineers we have in this team and everyone's experience and like where we're heading.
Can you give us a little more insight in that community app? Is there anything else you're allowed to kind of tease for the listeners?
You know, I want to,
what's coming down the pipeline.
You know, at this stage, I like want to keep that like close hold, but I would say like that app's going to be extraordinarily apolitical.
Perfect.
Like apolitical. So, that, you know, like launch partners on that so
stay tuned. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, like
no golden nuggets yet, but you said it's more community.
Yeah, I'll come back on.
Okay,
like when we're rolling public with that sort of into June.
Perfect. And then powering all this stuff, you have the blockchain piece, right?
Yeah, Optio.
Yeah.
So Optio is a proof of impact level 1 blockchain sitting on built in the Cosmos infrastructure, which for non-blockchain people, it means like you can build another token on top of it. It's its own ecosystem, built from scratch, owned in the Pulse family. And the neat thing about that proof of impact protocol is like when you take an action on our platform, it's anonymized and tracked. So like going back to your account allows you to place a tokenized reward attached to it. And that really is a methodology of like delivering value back to people on the one thing they've been giving away for free since the advent of social media, and that's their data.
Right.
So not only on our platforms or with the ad modules, are you going to have your traditional revenue splits? Are you going to have like the branded opportunities like you do on Facebook? Or are you going to have microtransaction opportunities like you do on apps that I won't name? But as a creator, like having the interactions and whatnot that your content get, you can know that you're benefiting from that on the Optio side. And I think more importantly that your viewers and like your fans that are coming and consuming your content are receiving recognition and some share of that pie as well.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. And I'm going to try to regurgitate what you said and just make sure I understand it correctly. Okay. So
yeah, I probably need to hone that in so I can get it down to my point of like, you should be able to communicate in one sentence.
Yeah. Right. For our previous combo. So basically there's ad dollars. Let's say like use another company like Facebook, for example.
Yeah.
There's ad dollars that happen and every click, share, everything's tracked for Facebook. Everything's tracked. And that there's monetized value for every action that happens. And what Parler's saying is, hey, instead of 100% of your data as a user going to the ad company, we're splitting some of that off and paying the user on your own actions.
Correct.
Because there is ad dollars there. There's money to be had on those actions. But instead of 100% going to an ad company like on other apps, we're going to take a slice of the pie and pay you because you are the one creating the opportunity for money to be had, right?
Exactly.
Whereas on Facebook, every like, share, post you make, without users, Facebook doesn't exist. But the user's not paid anything to post there. It's just like you are the money maker, but not making any money.
Yeah.
Whereas what you're trying to do at Pulse and Parler and everything is pay the user, because without the user, Parler doesn't exist. So you pay them for those actions as a slice of the pie. Yeah. Am I understanding that?
I mean, at a high level, it's there. And I would say like, major creators that get monetized and whatnot make great money on Facebook. Right. So like on,
but even the non-creator side though, even any user, that's what's interesting.
For us, yeah, it's the person that's sitting there scrolling 2 hours a day on social media when they should be doing something else. Like millions and millions of people across the world is seeing a reward for their actions.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then PlayTV is awesome. It's being built out. It's going on. It's a really cool thing. And the one thing that I think is awesome about this whole thing, and you could touch on that for creators especially. Yeah. So I have multiple social media platforms on my show. Some do better than others. Like on YouTube, we have almost 3,000 followers. But on TikTok, we only have a couple hundred. Yeah. And so I'm trying to build multiple social media apps at the same time and grow them or whatever.
Omni-channel Dillon, England.
Right. All over the place. It's tough. But the nice thing about Parler is this. You have the social feed of Parler app, like your normal text-based kind of social app. But that's also integrated with PlayTV, which is a video player app. And so if I get a follow on PlayTV, it also follows me on Parler. If I get a follow on Parler, it also gives me PlayTV. So I can build two ecosystems as a creator at the same time. And like, to me, that's awesome because I now know I don't have to worry about like, oh, I got to follow on Parler. Hopefully they follow my PlayTV account. They're all integrated. Like, it's just that's a really cool thing for creators. Were you part of the PlayTV idea? Like, when did you guys?
No, I came in after that.
Do you remember when they decided like why a separate video player? Like, what's important about like a separate app instead of just integrating it all like X does or Facebook?
Well, I mean, I think you will see kind of like two channels on that front. So I think you will see everything kind of integrated together in a centralized home. And like that's the direction that we're driving for the consumer experience. I think the tree split of data being shared, being able to post on multiple platforms at once and whatnot comes from what PlayTV evolves into as it has the full power of Edgecast behind it. And when you're able to have a live streaming platform that has lower latency than any other social media network out there right now, being able to bridge in on a white label type solution for an OTT app opens up the world of, working with having that product then be a solution for anything that's live streaming in the world. So if you talk about having an app that's broadcasting like a regional sports network or app on Apple TV that is streaming pickleball, then
having its own separate
the core server side piece of Play TV immediately fulfills that when it moves over to the Edgecast servers. So from a business angle, it really was one of the big things you have on anything is like, how do you get content? Well, if you're able to deliver a better server solution to dozens and dozens of media entities and then have the other front consumer facing apps, like those media entities probably are going to utilize your apps like they do the other ones.
And on a consumer side, it's also nice for searchability because like if I'm on X and I find a video, that I'm never going to find the video again. Like it's disappeared in the feed forever. And it's really nice on a consumer side. There's two places. One is video only, and that's awesome. And so like I love that from a consumer side. So we're wrapping up. We're almost done. Before you leave, what could you tell the listeners? Like, how can they follow? How can they get more information? Where could they go for like just Parler related news, Optio related news? Like, where could they go just to kind of keep following the journey, get updates, that kind of stuff?
If you're on Parler, the community account is going to have regular news pieces pushed to it. We have the Edgecast websites up. You'll see presence of each one of these entities as they like go to market over the remainder of this quarter pop up for Pulse Parent, Pulse Network, et cetera. And each one of them will have like its own blog, press release, community type section of updates. But I would say like if you're on Parler, like your core audience, like follow the community account. Elise does a great job running it and interacting with people.
Last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Pulse. What are you most excited about going into the rest of this year? Is there you don't have to tell us the exact thing, but like, is there something that you're like, this thing I'm most excited about coming soon?
Yeah. July 7th.
July 7th.
Yeah. Very excited for it right now.
So stay tuned to my show. Stay tuned because I'll make sure that I drop whatever information when it drops on my show. And make sure you go follow me on Parler, follow the community account on Parler. Thank you guys so much for coming to this episode of the Dillon English Show. Jason, it was a pleasure, brother.
Likewise.
Thanks for hanging out. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next show. Peace.